I actually thought Rob Thomson was kind of real about the situation. He's not going to say, hey, this is just a dry spell. We'll never get through it. He's not going to say that. But I thought that he's the most real I've heard Rob Thomson since he's been the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies, and they've gone absolutely radio silent as a lineup. And that's exactly what they've done over not just the last two games, but I even mentioned in the 6-4 win, come from behind win in game one of this series against San Francisco Giants, that they were 3 for 16 with runners in scoring position. That ain't good. That's bad. And then they go on in the series to go 3 for 29 with runners in scoring position. Folks, that's a problem. I mean, yeah, in the early goings of the season, you can call it a dry spell and hope that gets you to a hot streak where the Phillies can't stop scoring runs and everybody feels a whole hell of a lot better. But until then, people are just going to think this is the same old lineup rearing its ugly head, doing the thing that they do in the postseason during the regular season. That's what people are going to think. That's what people are going to jump to. And I don't blame them for it, because this is why we have trust issues with the Phillies. It's literally, I just did a whole rant on this. When you talk about scoring 10 runs in a ball game, and then you could barely get a run across the plate in just about every other one, with the exception of a six-run game that you had in game one. This is terrible. And I absolutely get everybody's frustration with this ball club. Bryce Harper spoke about it as well. We'll get into his words from this game yesterday. We'll get into the 76ers game tonight, the last big test of the regular season for them. They got the Houston Rockets tonight in Houston. And then they hop on a flight and they head to Indianapolis to take on the Indiana Pacers the very next night. Their final back-to-back of the season. And then after that, they have the lowly Milwaukee Bucks. Good gracious. The last test is tonight against Kevin Durant and the Houston Rockets going up against Philadelphia 76ers. I have another take for you on the whole Diana Rossini, Mike Vrabel thing. And it stems from one of the pictures that I guess I just missed. I don't know. I saw them in the hot tub. Saw them on the loungers, saw them on the rooftop. And then I don't know if I just missed the other one of them on the rooftop because one was zoomed in of them like embracing. And I didn't know where they were. I didn't know they were on the rooftop when that happened. You know? And then there's the zoomed out picture of them on the rooftop with nobody around. Then there's the sources that one said Diana Rossini was on a sources on Diana Rossini. This is the story. Sources on Diana Rossini said she was on a hiking trip with friends. Diana Rossini has said come out of herself and said, "Oh, look, this is this doesn't show the 6 other people that were there." If so, so what? And the story also talking about how this was like away from the owners' meetings. This wasn't like at the same resort that the owners' meetings were going on. Not great. Look, you never want something like this to be true. However, this looks really bad. And I even went to my wife yesterday and I said, just if you happen to open the New York Post today, babe, and you happen to see me in there and I'm in the same pose, I'm in the same position with this woman, what are you thinking? And that's where my wife, who I'm not really into astrological signs, but she constantly tells me that she's a Scorpio. And apparently that's bad news for a lady that wants to be nice to me. I don't know. I would pee a circle around you. That's usually what she says. And I'm like, that's okay. All right. But she goes, oh, no. I would absolutely think something's going on there. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it doesn't look good. I mean, the only saving grace for either of them is that if there was anything worse than what they were doing in the public, then it's not out there and it's not incriminating. If there was an affair of some sort, there's no kiss. There's nothing that would be a little bit more incriminating than 2 people sitting in a hot tub in opposite corners, 2 people on loungers next to each other with no space between. Nothing more incriminating than that. But then you see them alone on a rooftop like that. You're like, oh, yeah, not great. So then, of course, it absolutely questions the journalistic integrity of the situation. I don't know the angle of Vrabel other than he's into her. I don't know. This is all speculation, obviously. But when you think about it from a reporter standpoint, and you think about it as we've been following Diana Rossini throughout this offseason, and we've heard from Diana Rossini about inside information about the Eagles. We've heard from Diana Rossini about things with A.J. Brown. Yeah, it makes you go, okay, well, is she just putting this out there to affect trade value in some way? Is she putting this out there in a way that could hurt the Philadelphia Eagles down the line by affecting that trade value? It really makes you question everything about it. You hope that they're just friends and everything's intact, but it makes you question, and it puts the wrong thoughts, maybe the wrong thoughts, in people's heads. So again, when the only saving grace is that there's nothing more incriminating, that ain't great. That ain't great. Both have denied in that whole situation. So it will be interesting to see. Oh, and I did see the clip of Diana Rossini, what was it, a couple years ago, referring to her husband as average. Not cool. Not cool at all. What the hell, man? Anyway, so there you go. I'm very curious to see the next report about A.J. Brown and the Patriots, if it comes from her, if at all. If at all. Back to your Philadelphia Phillies. They got shut out in back-to-back games against the San Francisco Giants. Just by the numbers, okay? Just to go right to the numbers here. I mentioned that they were 3 for 16 in game 1 of this series. 3 for 29 overall in this series with runners in scoring position. They hit 103 in the 3 games in San Francisco. They left 27 men on base in the 3 games in San Francisco. In the last 5 games of their 6-game road trip, they hit .090 with runners in scoring position. In total, in those 6 games, they left 43 men on base in 5 of those 6 games. 5 of those 6 games, not including, of course, the 10-run game they had in game 1 against the Colorado Rockies. 43 runners left on base. After the game, Rob Thomson, I trust these guys. Okay. He did acknowledge trying to do too much. Thank you. And then he said these guys are going to hit. It's just a matter of time. This is just a dry spell. Here's my my huge problem. I acknowledge that they're trying to do too much. I acknowledge and appreciate Rob Thompson's honesty in trying to do too much, because even that skews negative for anything else Rob Thomson has ever said. So I appreciate at least the acknowledgement that they're not peeing on our shoes and telling us it's raining, that whole thing. But trust the guys? I don't think you can ask the fan base to do that. And just going through a dry spell, I don't think the fans are looking at it like that. Because the problem that we have with this is getting shut out in back-to-back games, leaving that many runners in scoring position, leaving that many men on base, flat out not getting hits too. That's another terrible thing. But when you think about it as just a dry spell, yeah, but how many of these just dry spells are you going to have? Because what we worry about, at least I can speak for myself, and I know a bunch of fans that feel the same way, when you're talking about a dry spell with the Philadelphia Phillies, that is our nightmare. That dry spell happens all too often in the postseason. And even if this team is going to be a good baseball team and, win the division or a wild card spot or whatever it might be, what's looming over our heads is, well, they're just going to hit 211 again, as the 1, 2, 3 hitters in your lineup just going to hit 211, and they're not going to drive in runs in the postseason, and you're going to need every pitcher to be perfect. That's what's going to go through our heads. And yeah, even if it is a dry spell, how many of these dry spells are you going to have throughout the year? The other thing that Bryce Harper said after the game was he was asked about being one of the best offenses in baseball. What do you do to be one of the best offenses in baseball? What do you need to do to be one of the best offenses in baseball? And he said, we got to be that team. Because we're not. Acknowledging, like, I didn't get the sense that there was any sugar in that clubhouse yesterday. After losing 2 of 3 in San Francisco again, after getting shut out in back-to-back games and just having a piss-poor offensive performance. I did not have the sense at all that people were living in some sort of alternate reality, that they're great, everything's fine, or anything like that. I got the sense that they're aware of the pressure going on. And I'll liken it to this, and I think I touched on this yesterday, but yeah, on Postcast I touched on it, and I'll repeat myself now if you didn't hear it, but the Phillies, I always compare them to the Sixers, and the Sixers and the Phillies are very similar in terms of a lot of over-promising and an insane amount of under-delivering. But when it comes to this Phillies team in particular reminds me a hell of a lot more of the 2023 Philadelphia Eagles. In this sense. Coming out of 2023 and that horrible end of that season and the way they were beating the playoffs, then going into 2024, I remember, and I had even said it multiple times on this show, I said it with Seth and Gunnar as well, there had never been more pressure on a week 1 in the NFL season than was in 2024 in São Paulo, Brazil, against the Green Bay Packers. Because if Jalen Hurts turns football over and the offense doesn't look good and Saquon doesn't get it going, then people are just going to be like, oh, it's a carryover from last year. No, we needed to be convinced that Saquon was going to be awesome, which we were. We needed to be convinced that Jalen Hurts wasn't going to turn the football over, which he did, unfortunately. But defense stepped up and made plays. And then, of course, they went on to win the Super Bowl. Okay. But if they didn't win that game and Jalen Hurts' turnovers were more costly and Saquon didn't prove to be the huge impact player that he could be, then, yeah, everyone would look at that game and go, same problems as last year. Here we go for another season. Well, here we are with this Philadelphia Phillies team, 12 games into the season, and we're looking at it right now like we're looking at the same problems that we saw last year in the postseason and really throughout the regular season as well. Now, the thing was that, yeah, you did have dry spells throughout the season last year, but you got it going enough to, win 95, 96 games. That's great. Win your division again. As these players get older in this lineup, are those dry spells going to be more frequent, or are those dry spells going to be flat-out droughts? Are we going to be looking at crusty, sandy ground at Citizens Bank Park? It's going to be so dry of runs. Is that what we're going to be looking at? Because that's another concern. It's not about running it back with this team and the talent and all that stuff and whether or not they're good players. It's about whether or not these guys are going to get worse. And right after, and we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the game in a second, but right after that Rafael Devers home run, that 3-run home run that came later in an inning where Bryson Stott lost track of a pop-up in shallow right field, and he was going back on it, and he lost it. Rafael Devers jumps on a first-pitch fastball and just clobbers at the center field for a 3-run home run, and bang, 3-0 Giants. Aaron Nola had been pitching very well up until that point. And he ends up only getting a quality start out of it, but bottom line is the Phillies lost, and the offense did nothing, and Aaron Nola is not exactly on the top of my list of people I'm pissed about or pissed at for yesterday's performance. But with yesterday's game, and I saw when that home run was leaving the stadium, my thought was, run it back. Yeah, just run it back. Run it back. This team, just run it back. Okay, now hold on. Run it back, but be worse. All right? What if that's the case? And then as I began to think, as in my doomsday scenario, as my brain as it played out, are these going to be longer dry spells? If they're worse, then I still think Kyle Schwarber can still get you 40 home runs. I still think that's going to happen. I think I said 45 before the season. I'm still in that realm. I still think Bryce Harper could be. I truly believe that Bryce Harper could carry this team at times throughout the season. Actually see him lay off sliders low and away in a 2-2 count and work a walk was a sight for sore eyes a couple of different times in this series. A lot of guys were chasing that splitter yesterday from Malley time and time again, either topping it or just swinging over top of it. Bryson Stott had 2 little dribblers back to the mound yesterday, both on splitters. They were getting fooled on that. But are these dry spells going to be longer? Are these players just going to continue to give you diminishing returns on the investment, not just by the franchise when it comes to dollars, but by the fan base in terms of emotion? And yeah, in their case, dollars too, because it ain't free to go to the ballpark. So it's awful to have this kind of start to the season. And as bad as it's been, you're talking about a 500 baseball team right now. Now, the question is, during the long season, are they going to get hotter? Are we going to be sitting here in mid-May going, you just wait for June? And by the way, for Kyle Schwarber, I think it's been the last 2 seasons, June has not been his best month. So I don't know if we're going to continue that this year, but just wait for June. You just wait for June, and then, oh, baby, then the dry spell's over. I hope that's the case. I hope that's the case for the rest of the season for this Phillies team, where, oh yeah, they just bang around 500. They got what, they got a long ass homestand coming up here for the Phils. So good right? But is this just going to be the case where the Phillies tease us throughout the year, have these long dry spells, and they just last longer and longer and longer? By the way, that homestand. So you got the Arizona Diamondbacks coming to town tomorrow, start a 3-game series. Yeah, it's a 9-game homestand here for the Phils. Arizona for 3, Cubbies for 3, the Bravos for 3. That's what you got coming up. Braves are 8-5 on the season. Watch them just be good, those bastards. Watch that just happen. As far as the game went yesterday, earlier game, thank goodness gracious. Earlier game for the Fighting Phils yesterday, not much fight, unfortunately. As I mentioned, Aaron Nola was cruising through 5 innings of work, got out of a jam or 2. Phillies created a jam or 2 for Malley, but unable, of course, to get anything out of it. The perfect scenario of that. Back-to-back singles there in that first inning. Trey Turner struck out to start things off. 1-2 splitter. Get used to that. Then they get back-to-back singles. A little bit of luck in that as well. Bryce Harper had the line drive up the middle, got dropped. Couldn't be handled. Could have been maybe a double play ball. It wasn't. Bottom line to get first and second, 1 out. Sit down Bryson Stott on a line drive to right field. Sit down Alec Boehm on a line drive to right field. Bryson Stott strikes out on a 2-2 splitter. Again, repeating theme on the day. Nothing doing in the second inning. Third inning, Phillies get another opportunity after back-to-back 2-out walks with Schwarber and Harper, both of them on base again. That's one of the instances I mentioned with Bryce Harper laying off a 2-1 splitter, then a 3-1 fastball away. Why do I bring it up? Because you didn't see this. You didn't see that. So he gets on base. So now you got runners on first and second, 2 outs. Alec, oh, wild pitch. Runners on second and third, 2 outs. What happens? He grounds out to third. 2 opportunities to help Aaron Nola's cause. Really, yourselves, Phillies, unable to do it. Later in the ballgame, 4th inning comes up. By the way, at the bottom of the third, Aaron Nola goes 1, 2, 3. See you later. 4th inning, back-to-back singles for Nola. Then he gets a double play ball. Arise goes to third. He then gets lead a fly out to center field. So, again, he gets himself out of some trouble. 6th inning is when all hell broke loose. 6th inning, you get into the bullpen. Yippee of the San Francisco Giants. Not a good bullpen. Yesterday, great bullpen, unfortunately. Day before, phenomenal bullpen. Phillies can't get anything going, unfortunately, after a 2-out single by Adolis Garcia. Brandon Marsh ends up striking out. Bottom of the 6th inning. Starts off with Aaron Nola at 65 pitches. Gets cost to pop out to Bryson Stott at second. Then Adames hits that high pop-up in shallow right field. Garcia can't make a play on it. Stott's really the only one that can make a play on it. He was there to make a play on it. Lost it. It drops. Adames gets a double out of it. Now you got a runner on second with 1 out. You walk Arise. First and second, 1 out. He gets Chapman to strike out after winning a challenge in that at bat. See you later. So now you got first and second, 2 outs, Rafael Devers at the plate. If there was a mistake that Aaron Nola made yesterday, holy pots and pans, this was the mistake. 94-mile-per-hour fastball, dead red, center cut, see you later, center field wall, 3-run home run, Phillies in a 3-0 deficit. That was the moment where I just thought, oh, yeah, let's run it back, but be worse. Well, let's run it back, but run it back slower and worse. Phillies had nothing. No answers after that. 7th inning, they tried to get something going there. Justin Crawford got a 1-out single. They went to the bullpen after that, went to Killian, is that his name? Turner worked a walk, so he got first and second now. Schwarber goes down swinging. Harper grounds out to second. End of the threat there. They add on another one on Alvarado in the 8th inning, and Phillies ended up going down 5-0, and that's the way that one went yesterday in San Francisco. Off day today. We all need a break. Off day today for the Phillies. And tonight, the 76ers are in action at 8 o'clock in Houston against the Rockets. I really, look, the Sixers hit a couple shots against the Spurs, come up with some clutch shooting. Then we might be talking about a different outcome in that second half. They lost the second half with no Victor Wembanyama against the Spurs there by 6 points. That's terrible. That's just getting out-coached, outclassed, out-hustled in a lot of regard. It's terrible. Now they're going up against the Rockets team that is coming off a victory against the Suns. That was their last game, where they out-rebounded the Suns by 20, I believe it was, 58-38. They just owned the boards. The Sixers are not a good enough basketball team to survive that many essential turnovers. When you talk about missed shots have to be turnovers, a blown opportunity for the other team, take it down the other way and cash in on it. You're not going to do that with Andre Drummond getting you 4 boards. You're not going to do that with Adem Bona not playing. So when it comes to the minutes that Joel Embiid is not out there, my question is for Nick Nurse, how does Adem Bona, and now I'm not saying here, for clarity, I'm not saying that Adem Bona is some savior in it by any means. However, how does Adem Bona go from a starter? And he has started. And this is, and I'm talking about he's a starter in games where Joel Embiid hasn't played, or he's obviously been off the bench when Joel Embiid got significant minutes when Joel Embiid doesn't play. How does he go from either a starter when Joel Embiid's playing or not playing, or when he's not playing, to a guy that can't even get into a game in a game that you can't rebound? How does that make any sense? That makes 0 sense to me. I don't get that. If you're Nick Nurse, how does that make sense? Adem Bona is good enough to start some of my games, not good enough to play at all in some others. That makes 0 sense, especially when you have a center like Joel Embiid, who, yes, is trying to get himself back into full-blown game shape, and that's not an excuse. That's an acknowledgement of a struggle. We haven't played in 13 games. How do you go from a starter to a guy that can't crack the lineup at all? Especially in a game where the Spurs are constantly getting plays to the basket. The Spurs in that matchup, and this is just one of the latest, this is the latest example of the Sixers not being able to defend the paint, especially in a situation where Joel Embiid's not playing, or really throughout that game, because they were getting plays to Cornette through the paint like it was nobody's business throughout that game. And they were blown away in that loss to the Spurs by points in the paint. They were blown away. This is that number. I'm sorry. I think I confused this earlier. 58-38 points in the paint. Sixers were outscored by 20 in the paint in a game Joel Embiid played and Victor Wembanyama did not play at all in the second half. And Adem Bona can't get in that game at all? That makes no sense. That's my question from Nick Nurse. Now, look, it's going to come down to how well Maxey plays and how well Maxey shoots. It's going to come down to how well and efficient Joel Embiid plays and all that. It's going to come down to Paul George. Paul George, if there's a saving grace for me in all of this, it's that Paul George has looked like the Paul George that they acquired. He went cold against the Spurs, fully acknowledge that, but just in terms of health, fluidity of his game, quickness, handle, defensive ability, he has looked more like the guy that the Sixers acquired than I've ever seen him over the longer stretch. So when you factor in those guys in the obvious, the big three, if you will, and VJ Edgecombe contributing and Kelly Oubre, giving his defense and some threes and all that stuff. One guy I got to look at here is Quentin Grimes, because Quentin Grimes has gone through, talk about dry spells. Quentin Grimes has gone through dry spells this year as well. And if the Sixers aren't going to have Campaign to come off the bench at all at any point and knock down threes, if Grimes is struggling, you want to try something else, you don't have that other option, then obviously it's got to be Grimes. Oh, and it's still not Jared McCain because he's still not here, even though he's hit a dry spell. Buzzword of the day, dry spell. Buzz phrase of the day, dry spell. If he's going to go through a dry spell in Oklahoma, it's certainly not going to come here to Philadelphia and help you out. So now it comes down to Quentin Grimes. What's Quentin Grimes going to give you? So far, nothing. I don't know if it's him adjusting to the life of Paul George being back and Tyrese Maxey being back and going from running the show for a little while there like he was last year and now getting used to coming off the bench again. But the last two games have left a lot to be desired from Quentin Grimes. He's got to be a money man coming off the bench. You're not going to have games from Campaign all the time where he's 8 for 8 from beyond the arc. That, to me, is struggling in that particular game. That particular scene. Can't have it. If there's somebody that I would call under the radar for the 76ers to come off the bench and actually put up some decent numbers, that would be the guy. So Quentin Grimes is going to be a focal point for me when it comes to where most people might have him under the radar. I'm going to be watching him tonight. Yeah, I want to see Maxey drop 30 and be 5 of 8 from beyond the arc. I want to see Joel Embiid, get 30 and make his trips to the line and get 10 rebounds. Want to see those assists numbers back up for Joel Embiid. That's what I want to see. I want to see Paul George get to the 20-point marker again and be 3 for 5 from beyond the arc, whatever it might be. But I need to see who the guys are coming off the bench to help you try to score points. And Quentin Grimes is the first guy I think of when I think of that. So be that guy, Quentin Grimes, please and thank you. By the way, looking at the NBA standings right now after last night's action, the Hawks lost last night. What? Yes, it's possible. Sixers dropped down to the 8th seed. They are a half game behind the Orlando Magic. The Magic beat the Timberwolves last night, 132-120. The Cavaliers beat the Atlanta Hawks last night, 122-116. What is happening, people? So the Sixers are an 8th seed as of right now. I mentioned earlier the Houston Rockets, the game they're coming off of against the Phoenix Suns. Houston is 50-29 now. That win over the Suns was their 50th win of the season. That was a 119-105 win. And in that game, Kevin Durant had 24 points. Şengün got you 12 points in that one, but 14 rebounds, 6 assists in that game. And yeah, rebounding wise, they out-rebounded the Suns by 21, 55-34. So if the Sixers could not, suck at rebounding, which has been a problem, second chance points, which has been a problem, that'd be great. That'd be great to show me that in their final test of the season. Just because I know it's sweeping the nation, the Philadelphia Flyers, ladies and gentlemen, they're going to be back at it tomorrow night. Tonight against the Red Wings. Another pivotal matchup as far as the standings go, but the Flyers very much in the driver's seat right now in the Eastern Conference, and I love this. I love seeing, I've talked about this yesterday. It's worth mentioning again. I love seeing all these Flyers posts on social media. People just celebrating the Flyers again and how great this is. It's fantastic. I absolutely love this for the Flyers. They deserve it. I predicted that they would be giving you the meaningful games in April, and here we are. They're giving us the meaningful games in April. I did not think that they would be in the playoffs, but yet here we are with them in a playoff spot right now in the Eastern Conference. Once again, they are at 92 points. They have a 2-point advantage on the Columbus Blue Jackets in the Metro for the 3rd spot in the Metro. Wild card wise, right now, the Philadelphia Flyers are 3 points above the Detroit Red Wings, who are sitting here at 89 points. Flyers get a big win tonight against the Red Wings, and you can pretty much kiss the Red Wings a bye-bye as a threat to the Flyers for their playoff chances. So look forward to seeing that for the Fly guys tonight. And I just can't, like, Porter Martone has been an impact player since he's been here in, what now, 2 games? He has made a difference. From winning you a game in overtime to picking up assists to that great feed he had to Trevor Zegras against the Devils. He has been an impact player. I'm very excited. I mean, a game like the start like this to his career, when you talk about a bigger body guy, 6'3", got some mass to him, albeit a younger guy. You talk about that, and it gets you excited for what the guy could do in the crease for you in the postseason. 4 games left, including tonight at Detroit, at Winnipeg, and then they host the host the Hurricanes, and then the Habitants to end the season on the 14th. Hey, let me tell you about the Gametime app. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase on the Gametime app. Want to go to the game, the concert, the comedy show? Gametime app has you covered. So download the Gametime app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase on the Gametime app. How about PHL Sports Nation? Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. Let's get into the chat check and see how you wonderful people are doing on this fine, fine day. Rye, what's going on? Nice to see you. Wonder what's coming out of receipt. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. I do always feel bad for the significant others, and whether or not it is an actual cheating scandal or it's speculation of a cheating scandal, because like they didn't sign up for this. Like this part of it where private matters can be public, and even if it's just speculation, it's out there, man. It's always going to be in people's thoughts. Remember the whole Roger Clemens PED thing where he was like on the phone with his trainer, and it was like, you're going to see that this proves I didn't use performance-enhancing drugs. What's his name? Tim McNamee? I forget. Anyway. And then he's like, he comes out afterwards and he goes, I told you I would prove it. And you listen to it, you go, that doesn't prove anything. What the hell is he talking about? And then he goes, it's hard to disprove a negative. How do you disprove a negative? In other words, we're just out somewhere and I'm just like, you just skipped the check. And people are around and like, whoa, he just skipped the You could have not have skipped the check, but I just said that, put it out in the ether. And now other people are looking at it and be like, this person skips the check. Even if it's not true. They have no evidence. They just heard me say it. It could be totally not true. Now people are going to look at he skipped a check. Like, I didn't skip a check. Being falsely accused? How do you disprove it? It's still in people's heads, no matter what. People could see conclusive evidence that you didn't. But it doesn't matter. The thought's out there. What are we going to do? It's already out there. Call the cops. It's already out there. Points if you know the movie in the chat. Sean Gillespie, hello. Natalie, hello. Jimmy, what's up? You have a great day. Natalie, I'm not putting that up there, but I will say Kevin Long, is he on a potential hotter seat than Rob Thomson? Because my knee-jerk reaction yesterday was on postcasts like Kevin Long will get fired before Rob Thomson. And then I thought about it a little bit more, and I was like, no, they'd probably fire Rob Thomson and keep Kevin Long. Or they'd just do one fell swoop and just get rid of everyone. And then, hey, Don Mattingly, you do everything. Maybe they'll bring no. Ari, what's up, Ari? Jay Stay, good morning. It's bad, Farzy. It's definitely a terrible look in all facets for the Phillies, I assume. Yes, absolutely. Or Diana Rossini. And Mike Vrabel. All questions, their motives, almost like a spy movie. Absolutely. 4 games left for the Flyers to hold their playoff spot. Let's go. I presented to a room of 100 people in Chicago, and one dude was had a Phillies hat. So I shouted out the Farzy Show, locked on Phillies post game, trying to grow your audience. Thank you, Ari. I appreciate that. Vrabel is mad now that he didn't take up his boss's offer for a massage. Good times. Sean Kilray, what's going on? Food for thought. Crazy. Diana Rossini says She hid partying from her husband. I did things in Miami I haven't even told my husband. I had that much fun. Not great. These rumors that they used to mess around when he was in Tennessee, I don't know how true it is. I haven't seen that one. Oh yeah, she called her on so like on her podcast, whatever it was, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. She was here we go. I think the context was she was like, I can't even get there, but basically she was like, that's why I'm married to like an average guy. And it was about beautiful people. She's like, my husband's not beautiful. He's average. Next up, Farzy and Soriani going on vacation together while TMZ is in the bushes taking pictures. I think they'd be like, which one's which? Because I would wear an Eagles visor and I'd throw people off tremendously. The kind of visor, like my Philly fanatic visor here with the fake hair. I'd wear that. I just trim it up. That's how I do it. Yes, I just have this sitting here right next to my desk. A dry spell that lasts multiple seasons. I'd say that's more of who they are, says Natalie. I agree. Dry October, baby. That's great. Full-on drought, hell yeah. Looking back, it's pretty crazy that in the offseason, Danny drafted Porter Martone, signed a solid starting goaltender, signed a 50-point center, and traded for a 65-point center. Let's go Flyers. Trevor Zegras, straight up baller. Well, I mean, I used to do this every day. Just like look at the Flyers goal scorers. Tippett's 2 away from 30. Konechny's 3 away from 30. Zegras 5 away from 30. Either way, man, these are 3 20-goal scorers. This is a nice thing. Nice thing. Jason A, yeah, Sean, Flyers are starting to turn around. It's fun to watch. It absolutely is. It is. I give the Vic Fangio grunt when someone asks me about the Phillies. All right. Well, here. Ugh. You know what? Now that I'm on it, now that we're back on the Phillies and all that stuff, here's what at least the Phillies didn't say this after the game.
Take away the scoreboard.
Just a couple of ones that just won't ever be not funny to me. Natalie's need the 76ers, but might just end up as a play-in team. It looks like they're going to be a play-in team, no doubt. Ari, I knew you'd get it. It's already out there. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are great, as per usual. Morning Rush, brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. I'm going to take this off for people tuning in right now. Might think I might have the wrong idea. You know what I mean? Here's what you got. Sixers, Rockets, tonight. Houston, 8 o'clock tip-off. After this, as my friend Keith Pompey would put it, tomato can. This please, Joel Embiid, go out there and dominate against Şengün. Somebody stop Kevin Durant somehow magically. Tyrese Maxey be really good at basketball, please, tonight. That'd be nice against the Rockets. But 8 o'clock tip-off, and then for your Philadelphia Flyers, who I did already mention, they're back at it tonight. A 40-win Flyers team, not bad. 7 o'clock tonight. So yeah, you bet your booty I'll be watching that. Here's the other part of it. I'll be on Locked On 76ers postcast as well, so check it out. Number 2, wish me luck tonight. Lil Toots has her second season playing softball. Me and my buddy Jamie Lynch, who, of course, we work together at the Fanatic, we are coaching together. He's the head coach. I want no parts of being a head coach. I don't even want to be an assistant coach. But anyway, he's doing it. So I'm like, all right, I'll do it with you. So tonight's our first game, man. Tonight's our first game. I'm going to have the girls running sprints, obviously. I think you can do that at this level. But yeah, wish me luck. I've never been a youth coach without being a youth myself. I coached a high school team basketball when I was in college. I think I was a junior in college, if you want to count that. I have to work on my communication skills. That's what I learned from that year. That's what I learned from that year is being a communicative coach. That's what I need. So wish me luck tonight. Keep me in your thoughts and prayers. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Whoa. Whole hell of a lot of me today, as a matter of fact. 9:30, an earlier start time. Me and Keith Pompey when it comes to Locked On 76ers. Then Locked On Eagles Squad show at noon today. Me, Harry Mays, Louis DiBiase, and Jason Martinez. That's going on today. Then tonight, after Sixers Rockets, Locked On 76ers postcast with yours truly. Don't miss out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. I'll be back with you guys throughout the day today, and of course back with the Farzy Show tomorrow morning. See you guys then.